But if everybody around you is a loser, best believe you are too. And if everybody around you are winners, then you are as well. And that's one of the things I don't do. I'm going to tell you this here, and it may come off arrogant, but I don't care. You can call it what you want to call it, but you won't call me around you. So what I will say is, I don't take advice from anyone that is not living, thinking, speaking, emotionally in control, or doing anything that would be inspiring to me.
OG, two letters that define respect. I created the original OGs to document the forgotten parts of American history. I want to recognize and give a voice to the men and women that have climbed to the top of their game. The men and women this marquee have been authenticated as original OGs. Welcome to my world, a world of the originals, the unique. Welcome to the original OGs. Welcome to the original OGs, and I'm your host, OG Mr. Rick. Hey, today we have a very, very exciting show because we're going to introduce you to our first female, because we keep hearing, when you going to do some females? Well, it's not that we don't want to do females, because they're just as equal as males in our eyes. We just have to pick the right ones. So we're going to bring you a special guest today. But before we start, I want to say to you, please subscribe, share. I don't like to butcher people's names, so I'm going to ask her to introduce herself, and we're going to get along with the conversation. I think you're going to really enjoy it. So without further ado, introduce yourself, sister.
Hello, everyone. I am Dame Dr. Shatira.
That's a beautiful way to do it. I would have just, but it's all good. So let me ask you, I like to take a journey with people, so I want to know, what was your parents' upbringing?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
That's you just right in the hello, Shatira.
Yeah, that's where we want to be.
So my parents, we're from Chicago, of course. Live here all my life.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was a Vietnam veteran.
Beautiful.
But he was also an entrepreneur. He was many things.
I get it.
Many great things, should I say. Filled with many experiences. My mom, she is also from Chicago. Her parents were from the South. Mm-hmm. So they migrated here to Illinois when she was younger.
When?
I don't know, probably when she was like a couple months old or something like that. But I've always lived here in Chicago, make a long story short. And my parents instilled in me that no matter what, I should always be determined and continue with any process I start. I don't know if they thought it would always be to even their benefit as parents, but hopefully. I took heed to it and I listened. And that is why I am who I am today. I was filled with many experiences. So my parents were great examples in the good as well as the negative.
I get it.
All right. And I'm very thankful, because who better to have given me life lessons than those who actually love me?
I get it.
That's what it's about. You don't want the lessons from the people that don't. You want the people that care, but you also want them to love you, because a lot of people that care but will totally do you an injustice.
I get it. I get it. You came up in Chicago. What side of town?
So I grew up on the south side of Chicago. My household was very normal until probably the age of 12, I believe, when my parents got a divorce. Like a lot of people, you really don't think that the parents are really influencing the way the children move in life from them losing their divorce. It's like, this is your love life. It ain't got nothing to do with me.
Right.
But I would say, a very normal life, one that was inspiring to me until about the age of 13, because I was homeless from 14. So
by the time you were 14?
14, I was homeless. I was basically doing my own thing, which is a good thing. That's why I said in the beginning, I'm so grateful to my parents, because they gave me my experiences. And I love that it was them. I absolutely had the best teachers. And I became a great student of life.
I get it. So about that time, what was the most challenging thing in your life?
Well, the most challenging thing for me at the age of 14, if that's what you're asking,
yes,
was the idea of figuring out how to filter through life. It was as simple as things like, okay, so this is what's happening. How am I going to figure out how to get downtown when I'm grown? Because the world looks so huge with the smallest things that are normal to most. But those were questions for me. And I didn't know that they were going to be so small. It was not even an issue. But those were things that I pondered.
And being a female, being in that situation and
Yeah.
having to learn how to protect yourself in
Yeah.
certain ways, what stood out the most?
What stood out the most to me is that I always knew that I was never alone. I knew that even as I walked in this world, that I had God. Nobody had to tell me, because I remember my on the other side, my grandfather was a minister, but my grandparents, they always went to church. We all went to church. I don't think they really knew what was happening with us, though, or with me, should I say. And when they did know, it was just, oh, she's been a bad child. She's this. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to move through life and I'll figure it out. But I always knew I was never alone. And I was willing to take on challenges. So that's what happens. A lot of times we raise children that we want to be strong, but we also want them to come back and need us. But I was a child. You put me in the street, I'm going to figure out how to play on it. And I always did it with integrity. And that was the biggest thing. There's a lot of weirdos in the world now, and they were back then too, I'm sure. But it wasn't as prevalent, even in our culture, as it is now. So being homeless then was a little different than being homeless now.
Totally different.
Yeah.
What was the inspiration that you found that led you to go in a different direction?
Well, first off, I had to pay attention to the direction I was standing. All right?
Exactly.
And once I did that, I knew that I could take either road. And for me, because I'm willing to challenge everything, I'm a Gemini, I am willing to take on the chances. All right. But I always, like I said again, I knew I was never alone. So no matter which way I swam, I just knew that God, the divine order, love, my family on the other side, I knew nobody was going to let me drown. It's so funny that I was just moving and annoying. And I still do that even in this life now. I just do that. So I took the chances that worked for me. But I also always thank God for being there for me and those who love me on the other side. And I just said, I'm going to allow the process because I'm going to be led to what makes me whole. And I'm going to show my parents that I don't need them anyway. It was just my way.
That's very, very powerful to say. What year was this?
Oh my goodness, I don't even know, because if I told you the year, that means you know my age. And because I'm everlasting, I don't.
During that time, I'm going to assume that there were a lot of drugs in the community.
Of course.
There were a lot of different men doing different things in the community.
Yep.
You're a nice looking lady.
Thank you.
I'm sure that they approached you in different ways. So did you, or how did you avoid the drug dealers and the players and the pimps and the et cetera, et cetera?
So like anything in life, first off, I was never really approached with too much darkness because, well, I was, but everybody knew where to stand because I always had a frequency of strength.
I get it.
So I understand, even in the world of men, I'm not a man, I'm a female.
But
I can think like them. I can figure out how to be them. And I can learn so much to where I'm valuable even to them. And not with losing my integrity. I've never been that woman. I always looked at the drug dealers and I saw how they treated the girls. And I said, I'm going to be the one treating them like that.
Okay.
Okay. If I decide I'm going to sell an apple, I'm going to find a way to not only get the apples, I'm going to make the connection with the people growing the apples. So when I sell them to you, you need me and you respect me.
I get it. That's
how I've always been.
When you were on the streets at that age, when it was time for an education, what was your thinking?
Well, I stayed in school. I did. This is one of the things I want to say. That you are the proximity of the people you're around. Mm-hmm. So even at that age, I still had friends.
Right.
So I was doing what was considered normal for them. I was just going to spend a night over my friend's house here, spend a night over there. I made that a life.
Okay.
Okay. And in doing that, I was able to replicate what was normal. I was already in school, so I could always show up with that. I had a couple items, I would do things. I wear my friends' clothes, they wear mine, vice versa. I became the reality of my environments, good and bad, choices and those forced upon me. So going to school was a force because even if I'm staying in my friends' houses, they going to school, I got to go to school
get up
too.
Out of there.
Exactly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that was something that I did. And I always tell people that even now, you are the proximity of the people you're around. If you want to know what your integrity looks like, look at the people you have around you.
I get it.
If you can't figure it out. And if ain't nobody around you telling you the truth.
I totally get it.
And that's how I live.
And in that environment, give me a real example of someone approaching, or how you avoid it, what mechanisms would you use to avoid people of that nature?
Well, let me say this to you. I didn't necessarily avoid it because at that time, my energy and my mind was different. I became it.
I get it.
So I didn't avoid it. I've never, ever had to lose my integrity.
I get it.
But I joined the game.
I get it.
And that is what opened the door for me to, and let me say this too. No matter what was going on, my dad was my best friend who became a heroin addict. Okay.
I get it.
He started doing it in Vietnam War. So I always still had somebody I can talk to, somebody I can go to. Our situation was just what it is. Even with my wrong, I had a team player.
I get it.
And that's what you need sometimes. You need that one person. You need that assistant. And with it being my dad, of course, I was like, oh, well, I can follow what he say. But he was also a great example because he used to be an entrepreneur too.
I get it.
Okay. So I learned to just join the game. And even when others saw that they could trust me, because I'm good at creating relationships. Okay. And in doing that, that's what I did. So I sold drugs for many, many years. But at the same time, there's absolutely nothing that I made from selling drugs or anything that has benefited me in life, because I also learned on the street that luring humanity is not anything in the energy of what God wants. Everything about what we do should be raising the frequency of people we're around.
Totally get it.
So I was signing up for class. I just didn't know it.
You said something interesting, and I want to expound on it a little bit. You say your dad was in Vietnam.
Yes, he was in the Vietnam War.
So when he came home from Vietnam, you were there about young teens?
Yeah, I was young. I was very young.
So when he came home and you started having...
It's probably like 5, actually.
Yeah, and you started having that relationship with him. When he left, were you old enough to have really known him?
I'm going to say I don't remember.
Okay.
Because I don't remember.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying? I kind of live in truth, so I'm not going to tell you something I
No.
don't.
That's what we're doing here. I'm trying to find something. You
Yeah.
know, when he came home,
I'm going to tell you, he was one of those people in a closet. You would have never known. My dad was so cold at being him. He lived good. He made money. He was an entrepreneur. They were one of the first people to actually open up the first alphabet track.
betting, off-track
Yeah,
betting.
something. Okay. They were the first over in Rosen, right at 114th in Michigan. It just wasn't called that. The city ended up shutting them down. They were making so much money, of course. So he was an entrepreneur. He was many things. And most people didn't even know he was a heroin addict.
Vietnam did that to a lot of our people.
It did.
And they came home with that.
Yeah.
Being a heroin addict and trying to keep that a private thing.
Yes.
You know, it affects other people.
It affects everybody that's around, because now not only are you changing the perspective of who you are, you're changing the dynamic of the family.
Exactly.
And that's what happened.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's what happened. My mom never indulged in any drugs.
I get
Never.
it, because see, it's saying to me that there's the friction.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm trying.
Which it became the divide of the family.
My point exactly. People struggle with the other person until it becomes intolerable.
And that's what it was. But it was not only intolerable with my dad, it was intolerable with just being a good parent. Because even as a child, I couldn't say, oh, I don't like this. Everything was annoying, because she exasperated so much energy dealing with my dad and all his issues.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying? And then my dad was very popular. I'm telling you, in our household when I was younger, you could literally go into the family room and you would see my dad, Rick James. You would see One Way, because my cousin was a band member in One Way. So that's another whole world of drugs. And here it is, my mom, who don't even really drink.
Right.
She don't even really drink alcohol.
Surrounded by it.
Yeah. And you come out in the front room, it's nothing but smoke. And you know what else they doing?
And I was also a heroin addict.
Wow.
You know, and I reason with heroin addicts because that's a world of its own.
It is.
And it has a particular outcome to it, you know. Mm-hmm. If you can make it through it, and I think you may have experienced this if your father lived long enough, or if he's still living.
He is now passed.
Mm-hmm. There comes a point that you get past that. And when you get past that, you become another person, but you become a person with a different space in your head,
You do.
you know.
Because the inheritance controls the brain. Yeah, that's one of the things about my dad. I love him, my best friend ever. He literally had the best heart.
I get it.
He was a really good person with compassion, filled with knowledge, filled with experiences, filled with all different levels of life. You know what I'm saying?
I totally get it.
And you just don't even find people like that anymore.
Well,
you really don't. It's either one or the other.
and it makes me feel like that's what they're doing to Black people.
Well, they've been shifting and changing the DNA of our culture for many, many years. And they're doing it in different ways. But the thing about it is that our culture must understand, they must pay attention, because they enjoy the idea of being asleep. How do you enjoy being asleep? I tell people all the time, because I've been offered marijuana. It's what it is. I done sold dope. I'm not interested in none of it. I'm not interested in anything that removes me from the totality of being whole for 1 hour. I'm not interested in that. So if I smoke your marijuana, then I'm going to be high. First off, I got to get high. That may take me 20 minutes to be totally out of me, what I say myself. So that's 20 minutes of my day lost. Then I'm going to be high for probably 6 hours. Then after 6 hours, now I got to get back to where I am. I got stuff to do. That's why a lot of times our culture in many areas, I tell them all the time, I got siblings. I'm like, listen, you're going to wake up a slave and you're going to be like, how'd I get here? Because your ass was high. You didn't even know you was high. When they was asking you, did you want to be a slave? You said yes, because you thought it was another level of getting high.
Afro Man.
With Afro Man?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He made the song because I got high. You know what I'm saying?
Because he got high.
You see what I'm saying? He didn't get nothing done because he got high.
Exactly. And let me say, there's nothing wrong with your choice of fun. But if your fun has really started ruining your life,
It ain't fun.
if days are passing you, it ain't no fun. It ain't no fun in Evolve.
It ain't.
There is no Evolve.
You need to find something else to do.
Exactly. And in our options, we choose. So did you enjoy that space? Or did you say, hey, I see what other people are doing? See, ain't nobody got to teach you. You can pay attention to those that inspire you. And you can become that.
Exactly.
But it's a choice. It's a choice. I was in the drug game for many years, but I'm also in the 3% of female franchisors across the world because I chose to be different.
I get it. I totally get it.
Nobody said to me I needed to do that. I did it.
You knew you needed to do it.
I knew I needed to.
As children, I'm saying to you earlier that our parents see something in that child and they try to instill things to be able to manipulate it and allow it to manifest. Later on in life, sometimes it works for you.
It does, but it gotta be, I believe, in your DNA. See, and my DNA wasn't choppy.
I get it.
And if it was just with a little heroin, not enough to really create a problem in me.
I get it.
Or maybe it caused me to be an overthinker. I don't know, but it worked out to my benefit. I'll never forget, let me tell you this here real quick. My dad used to tell me all the time, Shatira, you can touch the stars. You can touch the stars. And I believed them. Because children who believe in Santa Claus, I don't care if you're homeless or not, you be that one kid to get a gift because you believed it and you expected it, right? My dad used to tell me that, and I'm like, I can touch the stars. And every time I get in one of my vehicles and I got stars in the roof, I'm like, my dad told me this. I just didn't know he was high. But it helped me believe.
Really didn't matter.
It didn't matter. I didn't know that he was moving off a frequency of euphoria, should I say. But it worked because I believed him and I heard him. And I got from my dad what I needed, even when he was high.
Now, you're at that age, did you continue to go to college or what happened?
Well, I did what my surroundings were. So then I started hanging out with my stepsisters because my dad has it's 13 of us, right?
Oh, wow.
So one of my siblings, we became close because we were going to school together. She was at CVS and I was too. We really met each other in the best way, I'd say, like that first week of school.
Yeah.
Okay. So it became the same situation. I found admiration in the way they were thinking. And being in school was just a given. In my mind, I never even expected not to be. Mm-hmm. So I knew I had to go to school, no matter where I was or who I was with. I knew that was on my agenda. Right. Because if I wasn't going to school, what was I doing? So I always knew that I wanted to be a success. So in moving towards growth, I knew this was the first level of what that would look like. Okay. Completion in this area.
Right.
So I went to the very first year of college. I went to the second year. I did my student teaching, and I realized after doing my student teaching, this ain't for me. Teaching is a great thing. just one for me.
I get
I'd
it.
rather be a student in my own world than to teach your children. And your children are great, but that's not for me. Okay.
I get it.
So I decided to continue on my path. Now, I do have a doctorate, but it was honorary due to my life.
How did you start thinking about entrepreneurship?
Well, one thing about it, when I sat there and I looked at my parents, because, you know, when you are privileged with the experiences of life the way I was, and I say it's a privilege because, again, it's a classroom of life. I didn't have to pay for it, you know, and it was training me on the path that I was headed. The divine God source knew that I was going to be an entrepreneur before I did.
I get it.
I just knew that I was different. Okay. I knew I wanted to be different. I was unique. I was creative, and I'm a thinker. So, I just decided to look at this as if being on the street, learning the way I was, I learned everything about entrepreneurism. I didn't even know it. But when I looked over it years later, I realized I've learned how to get people in order. I've learned how to give instruction. I've learned how to order product. I've learned how to distribute. I've learned how to be the manager, the boss, and the complete controller, the CEO.
You're running a business.
And I learned how to become an entrepreneur on the street. And then I utilized that because I knew that everything has a short run. So in that world of even selling dope, I knew, being the child of a drug user, that I never wanted anybody in my life, you know, outside of my dad, who I couldn't change, to be this way.
Right.
So even though life taught me that and it put me in a path of those experiences, I still had a heart.
I get it.
I still had compassion because that's the DNA of me. And I can see the privilege in that. And I can also see why I was so protected.
I get it. How did your mind start developing what type of business you wanted to enter into?
Well, you know, I didn't know what type of business I wanted to be in. I just knew I was a serial entrepreneur. I knew that if I could change what I was doing on the street, then anything was possible.
And just convert it into
I just
something.
changed my mindset.
Yeah.
The only thing I changed was, instead of selling this product, selling this one.
That's where I was going.
That's it. And I knew this one was going to land me a spot in jail or murder. And this one could land me a spot with some awards, as it did.
But what type of business did you start with?
So initially I started out because I've been very creative. It was just a genre of different worlds. So I became a nail tech. I was a hairstylist. And I got used to even that money, but it didn't feel like my fast money. But it still felt like money I could control.
I get it.
Okay, I could just sign you up, sit in my chair. I signed you up for that. I got control of my funding. Okay,
I get it.
I said, well, it got to be more to this, and I started doing. I took a look outside in the world of what people wanted, and at that time, a lot of people wanted everything for their homes, tangible things. So I started making those. You remember those vases that you see in the department stores? Where it looks like it's the acrylic liquid.
Yeah.
But it's the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
I just said, you know, I'm gonna try something different. This is boring AF. This ain't the world I'm used to. I'm not used to this flower world, but this is the world that's going to keep me living like and smelling like flowers, should I say, in a good way.
I get it.
So I tried it, and I was so good at it. I was selling to all the department stores in Chicago.
Wow.
I was doing it by myself. I was making so much money. I said, I'm not going to keep doing this because I don't want to do all this work.
Right.
Because I wasn't used to working in this way.
I get it.
See, that's the part I didn't learn on the street, that sometimes you got to give up everything, all your time.
That's the
and
tricky
the
part.
streets is where you learn that usually, but I didn't.
Right.
And that annoyed me. So I went from that and I said, you know what? Now I understand a little bit more about life and spirituality and what I don't want to do. I'm getting to know God more. I said, just lead me towards more success. And I did. I was driving down the street one day and I saw this place, and they had like this gifted. And remember, I'm good in flowers and things like that. I'm still a girl. I'm a girl that was forced to change, but I'm a girl that can revert back easy. Okay. And I saw what is known to us as edible arrangements, the fruit that look like flowers. So I went in, I talked to one of the owners, and I asked him, hey, listen, how do you do this? How does this happen and why? So make a long story short, I bought 6 of those franchises by myself. And after buying 6 edible arrangement franchises, I just continued to expand. And I said, if I can do this, I can do most. Because even before I bought edible arrangements, I thought I wanted to be a hotel owner.
Oh, okay.
And I was approved for my very first Hilton Garden Inn by Hilton. but I was afraid because I hadn't seen nobody that looked like me with a hotel. And in that one moment, that's where I had fear. I had no fear on the street, but I had fear in that growth.
I get it.
Okay. And once I was approved, went through the whole process, I was like, I don't want to do it. Because nobody around me could even make me believe I was capable of completing that.
Right.
So then that's when I bought 6 Edible Arrangement franchises.
Here's something that piques my interest.
Mm-hmm.
You only went to 2 or 3 years of college.
That's it.
What did you acquire in that setting that was able to help you transform into the next world you're speaking of now?
Well, what I acquired in that world, going to college, I did learn how to be more social with people whose lives were considered normal in our world.
Okay.
Because in my world, it was about arguing, debating. You doing what I want. This is what it is. I'm getting what I want. If you can't do it, I got people who can make it happen. It was about taking. It was from a lower frequency. It was about showing up in deceit. Because I'm a female. I could do that.
Right.
You know?
I get it.
This world taught me organization in school. It taught me learning to be considerate of other people. You know, not just saying, I want your seat, or can I have your seat? Or I know that was your seat the last 5 days, but today I'm taking it. No, it taught me how to respect that other people feel the same way I do.
That part of your life gave you the tools.
And I needed that because coming from this side to that side, the one thing that works in both sides is courage.
Exactly.
And I had courage to do both. And the audacity to believe I'm supposed to be in both worlds.
You think you're going to come over here and do this all by itself, but if you don't have a foundation, chances are you're going to drown.
Well, you know, that's one of the things also that you got to really remember is that, like you said, you couldn't make it work because you couldn't correlate the two, okay? But one of the number one things we all must remember is that the secret to having it all is knowing you already do. So you were looking for what could bring together the collaboration of your intelligence in entrepreneurship versus the streets. But God, source the divine, had already given it to you. You just didn't realize that.
I didn't tap into it.
You didn't tap into it. And it's okay. It comes with the process. For me as a woman, I'm used to blending, figuring out where I need to be there and there, because I'm always keeping my integrity. But I pay attention. You know what I'm saying? And I only did that because of my own life, because of watching. I remember seeing that when people thought I needed them, that's when they was their worst.
Every time.
It could have been a glass of water, but because you think I need you, you want to tell me, oh, well, you got to sweep the floor or you got to do that. Okay, I don't want your water.
You got to give me something.
Exactly. And I also know, even now, that the more you have, the more that is given to you for free. You don't even have to ask.
It's weird.
You just show up.
I totally
it's not weird, but it's privilege. It's a mindset.
I get it.
You know, but it really has nothing to do with you except you stepped into that frequency. It's the people around who are still stuck on the street in their mind. It's difficult. But, you know, let me tell you this here. That's a mindset, too. It's like money. You know, I always tell people, if I walk into a room and there is money, it's going to say hello to me. You know why? Because I'm a frequency of it. Money comes to me easily and often. It always has. But money is the energy, too. Money don't like hanging out with stingy people. It don't like hanging out with people who don't respect it. It only goes to people who understand the flow. And in that flow, even when it comes to me, it knows I'm going to share it. Because a lot of times people don't understand that even money is an energy. They don't understand that. You know, you never, ever attract what you want. You only attract who you are. And in that example, if I walk into a room, you having a party and there's a lot of wealthy people in there, or let's just say it's one. Guess what? That one wealthy person, money is going to seek me out because money does not like hanging out with stingy people. It don't like hanging out with people who don't share. And it is a frequency itself. And it knows that if I come in a room, it's going to seek me out. You know why? Because I'm a giver. I'm a philanthropy, not for my personal goods, because everything I need I already have. You see? So I become the frequency of money.
It's not going to get stifled at you.
It's not going to get stifled at me. And that's why money is one of my friends, no matter where I go.
I get it. I get it. We need to learn more about that.
And it started negatively. Remember, selling dope. Sometimes you're like, how can these people doing the wrong things get so much? It's because in their mind, they expect to be. You only live in what you think.
You know, in your giving, you've done something. You do things. You fed over 500 people. How did that come about for you?
No, I've actually helped over 20,000 people.
I get.
But I'll tell you, because you asked about my life, my path. So let me go back a little bit to
Help
lead you
yourself.
up to this.
Help yourself.
So what I've done is, not only did I do that with edible arrangers, I bought 6 of those, but before that, I was also a national handbag designer.
Okay.
My bags have been featured all over the world. I got about $6 million in free advertisement for that. In fact, I'm so inquisitive in learning. I became my own brokerage of 2 in the state of Illinois. They were African American. So everybody talking about all the tariffs, been there, done that. I did everything and got all of my stuff approved at 2 different ports, JFK as well as O'Hare. After that, I decided, you know what? How else can I help change people's lives? Because there's more to even just this world, right? So now I have edible arrangements. And then I decided to open up Diva Dolls International. It was the only American-owned plastic surgery recovery home in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. I serviced over 5,000 women around the world. Even with that, we also helped save women who were being sex trafficked as well. Okay. So that right there, I had that business for 8 years, and that's why I received the International Woman of the Year award. Okay.
I get it.
So I got that in Las Vegas because, number one, even in me making money, I always want to help people. So I said, you know what, God, I'm going to sell this business. What next? Because I believe in playing. The whole world is our playground, and that's what I do. So then I decided, well, let me open up a restaurant of some sort.
Okay.
My stepson, he went to school. We sent him to U of A in Tucson. I built him out a restaurant, opened it up for him right there in Tempe, Arizona, right on University Drive down the street from Arizona State. He made his first million at 24 years of age.
Beautiful.
And doing so, it opened my mind. I'm like, well, I'm already a franchisee. Let me see what else I can do. Then that's when I opened up. I hired a legal team who legalized edible arrangements. And my brand of Chicago Chicken Shack restaurants were licensed in every state across the U.S., became a thing. That opened the door for me as a franchise to create my own seasoning and sauces, which I sell to all of them because I sell consistency and they get to sell a moment of their dream. But this is how God works. Because when you go back to my whole life, I've always been a philanthropist, okay? That opened the door for me to create Chicago's Chicken Shack Cares.org, if you're interested. And that is where I have a foundation now, a 501c3, and I feed 500 plus families every month from one of my locations for free. It's a reminder that you matter. It is a reminder that we appreciate the days you come and spend your money with us. And it is a reminder that an African American was once you, okay? I never needed food, but I needed assistance. And nobody stood up to say, I got you once a month like that.
Yeah, just to get to the next phase.
So I tell people we feed 500 plus families, but it's always 1,000 plus because I don't want people feeling obligated. If I do 999, I don't want that one person saying, you didn't do it. So we say 500.
I get it.
So that's what led to me also being a philanthropist, even in this way.
I get it. You're giving to people or giving back to people.
Yes.
Expound on how empowering that is.
Well, it's really empowering when you decide to join the world of philanthropy, okay? Because not only are you telling universal law that you are a distribution center capable of giving, you will never be in need. Because the person in need will always need you. But if you're the giver, you will always be available to do so. And it starts with understanding that you cannot give good away. So many people in our culture, and just the world, just period. There is no lack where there is God. And even if you're not religious, because I'm not the most religious person, but I understand because I've been them all, okay? I've questioned everything. But I do know the more that I gave, the more showed up for me. Because you really become the hands and feet of God, whatever that looks like for you. You're here to help change humanity. And when people decide to go up against you, they find you, they find God. So even when you're giving away waters on the day you decide to do it, you're going to have the takers show up in your line. But they will always need to be in somebody's line because that's the frequency they live in.
The more you give, the more the universe will give you
Exactly.
to give.
Yeah, and I see a lot of that with our culture. A lot of the men are approaching life the wrong way because, as I said to you earlier, and as you've spoken to me in regards to your past addiction and my father's addiction, a lot of times we think that addictions are just alcoholism or drug abuse, but hear me clearly. Lack is an addiction too.
Hello.
A lot of times, if you cannot see yourself ever winning, then it becomes habitual because you don't even believe you're supposed to. And it's an addiction because it keeps you in the zone of what you used to. But if you have to find yourself going all the way back to kindergarten, when somebody said you were amazing and you did a great job, remember that, because in that moment, that reminds you that you're a winner and it's still in you. So you got to remove yourself from the addiction of that. I tell women all the time who are like, oh my God, I'm with this guy. I do this, I do that. And I said, well, why? Why are you with this guy? Do you like abuse? You got to live in the truth. Is abuse your thing? Or do you just like telling everybody your problem because you're looking for sympathy? Because you shared it with the girl across the street, me, your cousin, this one, and now we all talking about it again for 3 more days. So there's an addiction in that. Is it the addiction that you like talking about it? Or is it the addiction that you like experiencing it? Which one is it?
Either or.
A lot of our men have done that. They've become addicted to the idea of taking. You don't have to take because you already are. Y'all the kings.
We don't understand one of the things that you were saying about, getting to know yourself.
Yes. But even this, you are the proximity of the people you're around.
Hello.
So if you want to understand what your character really look like, pay attention to the people you hang out with.
Yeah, just look around you.
Okay? Nobody got to tell you, because when your mother do or your cousins or your friends, you take it the wrong way. But if everybody around you is a loser, best believe you are too. And if everybody around you are winners, then you are as well. And that's one of the things I don't do. I'm going to tell you this here, and it may come off arrogant, but I don't care. You can call it what you want to call it, but you won't call me around you. So what I will say is, I don't take advice from anyone that is not living, thinking, speaking, emotionally in control, or doing anything that would be inspiring to me. And I'm going to break it down. If you're on the bus, you're not telling me how to drive. I don't care if you know. You don't drive enough for me to be inspired by you. And that's what you got to do. We have to do that as a culture. We always listening to this one and that one, and they doing none of the things you aspire to be. And that's very important. Pay attention to your teachers are, because you ain't got to go to school to have teachers. You got teachers just in your environment, but you got to choose who you be a student of.
You wasted your time and you didn't gain anything.
That's right.
You should have asked and added to what you already have. And that's something we don't do.
And it sounds arrogant. But see, we've been so trained to believe in that we should be humble. The idea of arrogant is something we don't think we're worthy of.
Well,
and arrogance is just a moment of just believing that you're worthy of that moment, that experience.
I'm going to ask you a twofold question.
Mm-hmm.
One, advice that you would give young women that were trying to take the journey that you've taken. The other is, if you're in an environment and you're around people and you're communicating with them on a constant basis, if you're not feeding each other, then why are you there?
Oh, those are 2 good questions.
Yeah.
So to the first question, what I would tell young women who are looking to evolve, no matter what, always keep your integrity. If you find yourself in a room with people who need you to do something for you to be your best, you have to know assertively that you just entered the wrong room. It's 100 rooms. You ain't got to be in that one.
Thank you.
You don't have to be in that one. You have a choice, because let me tell you, I'm in many rooms and I don't entertain those rooms because those rooms don't equate to my frequency. But pay attention to you, because as I said earlier, Mr. Rick, you never attract what you desire. You only attract who you are. So if you keep inviting yourself, because that's what's happening, you're doing it to yourself. If you're inviting yourself into rooms where people are being disregardful to you, disrespectful to you, and totally just overlooking you, it's because you're doing it to yourself first. And they see that and they're just meeting you with who you are.
They're feeding into it.
That's right. They're meeting you with that, And number 2, when it comes to being in an environment with certain people, I pay attention to that because I want to make sure I answer your question totally properly. Because say that last part again.
I'm not giving you anything and you're not giving me anything. Why are we having the conversation?
Exactly. And I wanted to make sure I said that because so many times, even as a woman, people tend to believe, oh, women are just gold diggers. Well, I get that. But let me say this to you. You're not a gold digger. You're a goal achiever. All right. And everybody should be used, because if you show up in my world and I can't use you, I don't need you in my world. And I'm not saying use them financially, but if being in your space elevated me just by giving me one word to make me think,
Hello?
I just used you and you used me because you needed that frequency to share it with somebody and I was your student. Because I'll give you an example. If I had the moment, it's not something I'm looking to do. But if I sat down with even Minister Farrakhan for just 2 minutes,
Right.
what he say might change my life for 60 days.
Hello?
And if any human does anything for 30 days, it becomes a habit.
Hello?
And I say that with people. If you ride in the car with me from one block to the next, I might say something to change your life because I know who I am. So if you can't be used, you can't talk to me because I know the value I'm showing up with.
Hello?
Okay? And it's all in the mindset. Again, if you're hanging out with people who look at being used as a bad thing, that's because they don't have nothing to give.
My grandmother used to tell me, she said, hey, if you can't use them, they ain't worth nothing. Just don't misuse them.
Exactly. Now, I don't believe in misusing people because karma is everything. What goes around comes around. When I say use someone, use them for their value.
Of course.
And be of use for their value.
Of course.
Help each other evolve. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? It may come a day where they had an extra dollar that can help change your life and vice versa. Don't forget it. But when you out here to be deceitful, that's a different world.
If I can't use you to uplift the both of us, then it would be misuse to engage with you.
And it is misuse. And I'll tell you this again, like I said, it may come off arrogant, but I don't entertain people who's not on my frequency.
Thank you.
I have no problem with leaving you dumb, stupid, and ignorant like I found you. I have to tell somebody that. And it's not personal because people enjoy who they are, Even if a man looks at you, I mean, how could you walk in any room with a whole bunch of men with their pants sagging and you not be a teacher just by walking in?
Hello.
You just taught them how to look as a man, okay? And I'm just saying, they may not want to be, they still men.
They may not want to be a man.
But this is a different look. So you got to show up to whatever desire you think could be evolving enough to help change your life.
It is.
And don't take it personal. Don't take it personal when somebody else is doing what you desire. They your teacher in that moment.
Thank you.
They your teacher in that moment. Find gratitude in the fact you ain't have to pay a class for it.
Take it.
Take it. And that's what's wrong with our culture sometimes. We take everything personal. I'm a student of many people. I'm always learning. I am nothing like where I expect to be.
Hello?
But in order to be where I want to go, I have to be around people in that room.
That can teach you.
That's right.
There's another dynamic in your life, and I don't know if I can express this properly, so feel free to correct it and move it.
Okay.
The title Dame. What is the definition of that?
Well, I am a dame. It's a one-of-a-kind kind of experience, especially being African American. So I am a member of the Royal Order of Constantine the Great. I am a member of the House of Cappadocia and a Providence of Spain. So what that means, to break it down, is I was knighted into the royal family. I was knighted by Prince Raphael Azure of Spain. And I was knighted due to my philanthropy, due to my philanthropy and leadership. And with these royal families, sometimes they do that because their descendants are very limited. They bring in people who are like-minded so that you can get a moment of what the royal experience feels like. So I was gifted, of course, with jewels and all the things that royal family members start the process with. I'll never forget when I was knighted. That morning, I said to Prince Raphael, did you know that I'm African American? Because I heard that my name is going to be in your history books in the Royal Order. And he said, Duke. He called over Duke Gerhardt, and he said, "Did you know that Dame Shatira is African American?" And he said, "Wow, she's African American. Okay." And it was just so funny. And in that moment, I was like, "Wow, I can't believe I'm about to be knighted by the prince." And what's so amazing is that the prince himself, the Duke, knights and dames from all over the world came to see me be knighted. And I didn't realize the honor and how long they had been watching me. And that's something that a lot of times we don't do. Even on my social media presence, they were watching my character, even though they heard of what I do. They were watching me, making sure I was a fit to belong and be a part of their library, should I say. The prince gave me my scepter. I wear a cape, have events all over the world. And it has been an honor to be a dame because, and in fact, I've been elevated, and on June the 14th, I'm elevated to Dame Commander. So I'm quite excited. The prince and everyone will be here for it again.
In that ceremonial process, the final event of it for young women,
Yeah.
can you describe that as well as give a clear definition of dame and how they qualify you to do that?
Well, there are 5 different ways that you are even selected.
Exactly.
And mine, as I stated, was due to my philanthropy and leadership. It was so inspiring to them. They felt that I was deserving to be knighted into the Royal Order.
Wow.
Okay. When it comes to the knights, it's the same. They have different levels of qualifications that people must meet. It's not something you can apply for.
Right.
You have to be chosen. And that was what was so amazing to me.
Exactly. How did you even know I existed?
Yes. How did you? Well, I'm a recipient of a lot of things. Like I said, I'm the International Woman of the Year. There's only 3% of African American female franchisors around the US and 20% globally. I'm in the 3%. And I also received the Female Franchisor of the Year award in London. Okay, which is, it's always something. I have an award I'm supposed to get on the 23rd in Dubai this year. So I have many accolades. I'm a recipient of Lifetime Achievement Award by the White House. So the list goes on of accolades. I have an honorary doctorate. But even in doing that, I just always believed that I was of even more value than, we think of ourselves. But putting that out into the ethers, showing up that way, other people picked it up.
It's a beautiful thing when you walk into it. They say you have a gift. I'm just in conversation called a medium.
Yeah. I would go to sleep at night and I could see the energy in the room moving. It's so crazy. And it's nothing that I'm doing different. We all have it.
I get it.
Some of us can walk in the room and you can feel, you can go to somebody's house and you say, I don't want to be here. Or you can go to somebody's house and you can just fall asleep. You've tapped into the energy and the frequency in the room, the unknown, what you don't see. That is called quantum physics, okay? And I used to do that as a child. I could lay in the bed and I could see colors moving in the air, okay? But at the same time, I could speak to people on the other side. I could come and stay at somebody's house and I could say, this lady was here. She looked like this. I describe them, yada, yada, yada. Oh my God, that's my grandma. Oh my God, that's my aunt. Oh my God, that's my sister. I've always done that as a child. And I was even being taught in the spirit world, because it's a gift we all have, I was being taught in the spirit world to pay attention, because my life as it grew in homelessness and all the things I encountered, I intuitively paid attention to what I didn't see, because I learned to do that as a child. Spirit was gearing me up for my life. And I use that in every aspect of me. That's why even earlier I said to someone, I don't have to know a lot about you. I can stand next to you sometime and just know more than I need to. But I'm doing nothing different from us all. And if y'all ponder, if you pay attention, people that are blind, they do this all the time.
Hello?
It's just a sense.
Hello?
They walk in a room, they can't see you, they can't feel you, they can't touch you, but they know who they drawing next to with their eyes closed.
Hello?
Because they paying attention to the energy, what you don't need to see. You're never in a room alone. It's always frequency with you. And that's what they do. So even if you don't believe it, pay attention to a blind person. They make all their friends that way. They go where they need to go that way based off the energy in the space that you don't see. Because, growing up Baptist, they would say, oh, that's a person talking to demons. Well, I don't think God set me up with demons. It's something I'm born with. A demon is a demonic mind. But at the same time, I have utilized my intuitive abilities in so many ways.
What do you feel my energy is?
I feel your energy is very confident. Number one, you're very confident. You have a nostalgic energy, if that makes sense.
It does.
It's a frequency I'm familiar with, but it's also because of your encounters in life. Ain't nobody telling you nothing because you done did it all.
Pretty much.
And I love that. You understand who you are. You're
Thank you.
not to be toyed with. And I say you're not to be. You can't be because you understand your choices are yours.
Thank you.
I get that. I see that in you. And then you're very stern in it. And your energy externally demands respect because you've been disrespected for many years.
Thank you.
And I see that. But now it's weird because it's so strong. It's almost, it's been in you forever. You just decided to accept it again.
Thank you. I'm riding the wave now.
That's it.
I'm going to keep moving with the same energy.
But it comes off arrogant.
No,
That's what they say.
I get it.
It's not personal. Just like you over here talking about what I need to do and where I should be and how it should be done. I tell people all the time, the advice you have for me, utilize it in your life.
You be better
Inspire me with it, and then maybe I can hear you.
And as we say in the streets, get up to it. When we talked about you receiving your accolades from the Prince, this, that, and the other, see, that strikes home with me because the original G's is for the original gentlemen / ladies.
I love that.
That's the true definition of it.
Yes.
How you see it.
Well, walking into you guys' space, number one, I'm very grateful that I'm here. I got to say this, ladies. I found out today that I've also broken another barrier, so we're going to keep this going.
Without
Because they
a doubt.
don't normally bring in the women, and I'm one of their first. This is a great sign that I'm still moving in the direction that I showed up for, okay? When I think of the OGs now, because I love this space, I love what they're doing, I love what you're doing. For me, what I think about it is that it can be a room that it becomes life-changing for a lot of our men. It's a reminder even to the women that respect is necessary. They have to respect themselves even when they show up in the presence of a man.
Hello.
Okay? And it is a remembrance of what that feels like of family.
Thank you.
All right? Because it's an energy that's being given here for that. And with that being said, I am very appreciative. It's a space that I had the opportunity of learning. I got to know you a little bit more, and I'm grateful for that because it also reminds me of the life of my dad, and even in that is admiration. So thank you for having me.
I don't
here.
even know him and I admire.
Thank you.
We're going to title you, since you have all these titles, as the First Lady of Ladies of OG.
Oh my goodness, I'm the first lady.
There it is.
I like that.
So, I think you're a
Thank you.
great example for women to have the energy to achieve the things that they desire. I would have no problem picking your bio and telling my daughter, hey, study this.
I feel honored because I'm so happy. I can't wait to see who's next. And then to the men as well. But I want to say this here. No matter what you're doing in life, you got to remember, everything is a decision. Whether you answer, whether you ignore it, or whether you just move forward.
Hello.
It is a decision. I am who I am because I decided to be. That's it. When you are an individual that decides to be you, that alone is so inspiring to people, it'll create envy.
Where are we going in the future?
Chicago Chicken Shack, wings and chicken and tenders.
We're going to close out, but before we close out, I'm going to ask the producer, who's my partner, if we could bring your friend here to sit with us for a brief moment so that you can express and exemplify what you mean about the people around you.
Oh, I love that. I love that because she's so worthy. Just sitting in this chair is going to cause somebody to comb their hair if they bring her on.
Hello.
It's going to make them take off the booty shorts and put on the suit.
Hey, well, it is what it is.
And it ain't nothing wrong with it, because when we bodied up, I'm showing up to the beach however I choose. But I'm just saying.
Here we are with a person that expresses the manifestation or part of the manifestation of your life. Introduce yourself.
Well, I am Sabrina Lowry Molden, wife of the producer Delvin Molden, friend of Mr. Rick and Shatira for over 20 years. I'm just honored to be sitting next to Shatira.
Oh my goodness.
I've known her forever. We've just had this phenomenal relationship, but to hear her story is a manifestation of aspiration for a lot of women. Just the entrepreneurship, just everything that she embodies. It's just such an encouragement, and it's just such a way of life.
Thank you, but I want to say something, because this is a great example of you just being a bundle of love. What she didn't tell you guys is that she is a celebrity stylist. She is going to be a global stylist. You can look at her and see her beauty externally as well as the way she's dressed. This is what she does. So when I speak in terms of us showing up and teaching someone how to be without even communicating, she can walk through a room and remind you to go home and change. So just being who she is. So the proximity of your associates matter, because if you ever question why you're who you are, pay attention to the people you're around. And I love that you didn't even acknowledge that yourself, because you're so overlooking the view, which is what we've done as women quite often.
And I appreciate that. I also honor you for that. This is your moment.
I even sent her pictures of my clothes, and I thought she was going to be a little upset because I had to change my shirt. I had something more fabulous to put on. But I was like, no, I want to look more girly. That Sabrina could like my stars. It's representation of who we are. So where can they pull you up, though? Because for me, I told them earlier, you can go to ChicagoChickenShackCares.org, or you can just pull us up at ChicagoChickenShack.com. But where can they find you?
SavvyLooks.com. That's S as in Sam, ABULUXX.com. It's my website. It's up and running, and you can schedule your styling consultation. We go from there.
Fabulous you are. And you chose me today. Don't get no better than that.
It's about us. These are two people that we wanted to bring to you to show you that, hey, this is our world. And you've watched it. I need you to go and subscribe. I need you to share. I want us to hit an extra 10,000. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Hey, that's it. That's all.
I love that.
If you live in a city, any city, big or small, and you would like for Mr. Rick to come to your town, get as many subscribers as you can in your town, go in the comments. Let me know who your OGs are. They could be men or ladies, doesn't matter, as long as they have a great history. Whoever has the most subscribers, I will interview them. We won't pick them, you will pick them. So we'd like to tell those stories. Let me know why Mr. Rick should come to your city and interview the OG ladies and the OG gentlemen. That's it. That's all.